There are a couple of things that bothered me about this film.
Just what you've been waiting for. Movies, TV, music, and more. Follow, subscribe, stay up to date. Episodes drop every other Monday. It's the Matt, watch that. It's the Matt, watch that. It's the Matt, watch that podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Matt Watch That podcast, the place for reviews, rants, and randomness. I'm your host, Matt Seroski, filmmaker, film fan. Each episode, I'm going to watch a movie or TV pilot that I probably should have seen but never got around to. It could be a recent favorite, critic's choice, or cult classic. To join in on the conversation, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, at Matt Seroski. You can subscribe to my YouTube page where I'll post videos and clips from the show. If you have any opinions on what I've discussed, or suggestions as to what I should see next, use the hashtag MattWatchThat on social. Before we start, we're honoring Pride Month on the podcast today. It's celebrated each year in the month of June to honor the 1969 Stonewall Uprising in Manhattan, and to commemorate the impact that the LGBTQA+ community has had on our culture and in our society. 100 years ago, in 1924, the Society for Human Rights was founded in Chicago by Henry Gerber. It was the first documented gay rights organization recognized in the United States. It's been cited as a precursor to the gay liberation movement. It limited the membership to gays, with Gerber serving as secretary. African-American clergyman John Graves was enlisted as president, and Al Weininger serving as vice president. They created the first gay interest publication, Friendship and Freedom, though there was low circulation as people feared it would be a violation of the Cornstalk Act. The society only lasted a year because, unbeknownst to Gerber, Weininger was married, and his wife reported her husband and his gay lover to the authorities, with the accusations of tawdry things, also implicating members of the group. It's good to know that they had Karens back then as well. Gerber was arrested and put through 3 separate trials before charges were dismissed, but it left him bankrupt and the society was soon dissolved. No matter how much progress has been made in society with the LGBTQA+ community, I think it goes to show you that it doesn't matter if it's 100 years ago, 50 years ago, or today. There are always going to be people out there that go to the ends of the earth to try and stop a movement from happening. So you have to continue to be strong and stand up to those people who want to take away your rights. On to the main attraction. Each review will end with a ranking out of 5 stars. 1 star is skip it, 2 stars watch at your own risk, 3 stars standard fare, 4 stars worth checking out, and 5 stars must see. Now, if I give a title 5 stars, it doesn't mean I'm comparing it to Casablanca, Jaws, or Seinfeld. I rank titles based on other movies or TV series in that genre and at that time period. On this episode of the podcast, I'll be reviewing Love, Simon from 2018. It was directed by Greg Berlanti, who is the creator of Coming of Age Everwood, the short-lived Jack and Bobby, fantasy legal drama Eli Stone, and crime thriller You. But he's best known for the DC series Arrow, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, Titans, The Flash, and Superman and Lois. In the 2005-2006 season, he tied Jerry Bruckheimer by having 10 different scripted shows on linear and digital platforms. Despite this, he's only been nominated for 2 Primetime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Miniseries or Movie for Political Animals, and Outstanding Comedy Series for The Flight Attendant. The screenplay was written by Elizabeth Berger and Isaac Aptaker, who scribed episodes of comedies The Neighbors, About a Boy, Grandfathered, and family drama This Is Us. It was based on the novel Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. It stars Nick Robinson as Simon Spear. He was born and raised in Seattle, Washington, where he was spotted by a talent agent during a performance of A Christmas Carol. He moved to Los Angeles when he booked the role of teenager Ryder Scanlon in the ABC Family comedy Melissa and Joey, with former child stars Melissa Joan Hart and Joey Lawrence. The series would last 4 seasons, 104 episodes. In 2012, he appeared in the Disney Channel original movie Frenemies alongside Zendaya. That same year, he made his feature film debut in the independent film The Kings of Summer with the Night Agents Gabriel Basso, The Boys Erin Moriarty, Glow's Alison Brie, and comedy couple Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally. His breakthrough role was in the blockbuster Jurassic World as the nephew of Bryce Dallas Howard. This led to co-starring with Chloe Grace Moretz in the film adaptation of popular young adult post-apocalyptic novel The Fifth Wave. He transitioned to more adult roles in the miniseries A Teacher and The Maid, before acting in the limited sketch comedy series History of the World Part 2 for Mel Brooks. His next project is the Western series The Abandons from Son of Anarchy creator Kurt Suter. Love, Simon also features Jennifer Garner, Josh Duhamel, Catherine Langford, Logan Miller, Miles Heiser, and Tony Hale. This is something to look out for. In Simon's bedroom, one of the books that's visible is The Upside of Unrequited, written by Becky Albertalli, author of the novel this film is based on. So let's jump into it. Simon Spear lives a fairly normal existence in the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia. He comes from a close-knit family. His parents were high school sweethearts. His father was the quarterback, and his mother was the valedictorian. He has a younger sister who wants to become the next Gordon Ramsay, without all the cursing. He has a supportive group of friends. He's been besties with Nick and Leah since kindergarten, and Abby, who's new to the school, feels like they've known each other since forever. His life is seemingly perfect, but he's got a secret. One night, Leah FaceTimes with Simon and lets him know of a post on the Creek Secrets blog from a closeted gay classmate at school under the pseudonym Blue. He decides to create an email account and reach out to the anonymous person, signing off as Jacques. The next day, he gets a response, and they start communicating back and forth about their experience being in the closet. While using the school computer, Simon attempts to reply back when he's interrupted by the principal, and leaves his email account open. His classmate, Martin, threatens to expose his secret if he doesn't help him get a date with Abby. Here's a quote without context. "I was an extra in The Lion King, and this is where I am." Love, Simon is a charming coming-of-age movie about acceptance. It's simple in its premise, but accurately portrays the stigma associated with coming out. No matter how supportive the people are around you, you have to be comfortable within yourself, and with the idea of the world changing its perception of you. It also shows how people will use your sexuality against you, so you have to have thick skin. I wouldn't say that it's a lighthearted movie, because it's touching on heavy topics, and blackmail is a significant story point, but there's always a one-liner or punchline that keeps the scenes from turning melodramatic. There are also a couple of montages, including a funny one about straight students having to come out to their parents. Of course, in every film there's a point where things fall apart, but it's done delicately and realistically. There are a couple of things that bothered me about this film. The teachers were way too open with their students. Some of their jokes were inappropriate for the classroom, and even the principal was talking about his Tinder date with a student. I mean, I hope this isn't happening in modern-day schools. It's also already dated. There are references to Game of Thrones, Panic at the Disco, and Barack Obama. And that's a shame because it's a great movie to show students or young adults, anyone who falls into that coming-of-age category. Now, all movies get dated, I know, but the more pop culture references you put into a film, the more obvious it becomes. But otherwise, this is a really solid film. Now for a little trivial trivia. This was the first major studio production that featured a gay teenage protagonist. Love, Simon was distributed by 20th Century Fox. It was filmed in Atlanta, Georgia. The cinematography was captured by John Gulasarian, whose filmography includes horror remake Candyman, coming-of-age sequel He's All That, and true story comedy Cocaine Bear. It was edited by Harry Georgian, who worked on episodes of teen drama Gossip Girl, adventure fantasy Supergirl, and Archie reimagining Riverdale. The score was composed by Rob Simonson, who wrote the music for sports biography Foxcatcher, drama The Whale, fantasy sequel Ghostbusters Afterlife, and time travel comedy The Adam Project. In fact, there's a really great piece of music that appeared in that film. I think he's becoming one of my new favorite composers. The soundtrack featured songs by Bleachers, The 1975, Whitney Houston, Jackson 5, Troye Sivan, Warrant, and Lady Gaga. The runtime is 1 hour 40 minutes. It had a budget of $14 million and grossed $67 million at the box office. A television spin-off, Love, Victor, aired on Hulu for 3 seasons, 28 episodes from 2020 to 2022. On the Ski Index, I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. If you've seen Love, Simon and have opinions on the movie, let me know what you think using the hashtag #MattWatchThat. Moving right along, each episode, I'm gonna post clips that I think people should watch. It could be movie trailers, music videos, interviews, or something completely random. Search for my YouTube page and there'll be a playlist called Matt Watch That Playback. Culture Club is a new wave band formed in 1981 in London, England, whose members include singer Boy George, guitarist Roy Hay, bassist Mikey Craig, and drummer John Moss. The group's name came about due to the multicultural backgrounds of its members. Their debut album, Kissing to Be Clever, was released in October 1982. 2 singles were met with little fanfare, White Boy and I'm Afraid of Me, but it wasn't until Do You Really Want to Hurt Me received significant airplay that the band started to gain traction. It peaked at number 3 on the US Billboard Hot 100. 2 additional singles, Time, Clock of the Heart, and I'll Tumble For Ya, would find similar success, leading the album to be certified platinum. They were the first band since the Beatles to have 3 top 10 hits from a debut album in the United States. Their follow-up, Color by Numbers, went on to sell over 10 million copies worldwide, behind the number 1 single, Karma Chameleon. My favorite song of theirs appears on the album, called Miss Me Blind. Even though it would reach number 5 on the US Hot 100 charts, and popular in dance clubs, it's not overplayed, and I don't find many people have heard of it as readily as other of their tunes, so it's still a hidden gem to me. Their third offering, Waking Up with the House on Fire, was a slight departure for the band. Their lyrics were more political and socially conscious. Go woke, go broke, am I right? Their first single, The War Song, featured Claire Torrey on background vocals, best known for her improvised contributions to the song The Great Gig in the Sky by Pink Floyd. In approaching their next album, they switched producers for 1986's From Luxury to Heartache. Under the guidance of veteran Arif Mardin, they would create a more dance-inspired album. Due to Boy George's addiction to drugs and the breakdown of his relationship with drummer John Moss, there was a brief reunion in 1989, but it would be almost a decade before they would collaborate again, performing for VH1 Storytellers. Culture Club has since released 2 albums, Don't Mind If I Do in 1999 and Life in 2018, and continue to tour, taking up residency in Las Vegas in 2022. They've sold 50 million records worldwide, had 12 top 40 hits in the UK, with Karma Chameleon being the biggest selling single of 1983. Their success is undeniable, and it partially has to do with the engaging personality and androgynous style of Boy George. He became a pop culture icon with his style being emulated by people of all ages, and was immortalized as a whammy on the game show Press Your Luck. If that isn't success, I don't know what is. So I've selected a couple of clips of my favorite songs. They're all available in the Matt Watch That Playback playlist on YouTube. Check it out. Now it's time for the recommendation. Yes, that's the word recommendation with Matt in the middle. I'm going to end each podcast with my own recommendation of a movie or TV series. Today I'm talking about Howard. The documentary tells the story of playwright, lyricist, and director Howard Ashman. From his humble beginnings in musical theater to the creative force who helped revitalize Disney Animation Studios. It features insights from collaborator Alan Menken, former Disney chairman Peter Schneider, voice of Ariel Jodie Benson, and directors Ron Clements, John Musker, Glenn Keane, Gary Truesdale, and Kirk Wise. It also includes archived interviews with Roy E. Disney, Angela Lansbury, Paige O'Hara, Jerry Orbach, Jack Nicholson, Steve Martin, and Ellen Green. It was directed by Don Hahn, who worked on The Fox and the Hound, The Black Cauldron, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and Beauty and the Beast. Howard Ashman was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. He started performing at the Children's Theater Association before studying at Boston University and Goddard College. He earned a master's in fine arts at Indiana University. After writing and producing a few plays, he became the artistic director of the WPA Theater in New York. While attending the BMI workshop, he met Alan Menken, and they worked together on an adaptation of Kurt Vonnegut's God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater. A few years later, they reunited to create Little Shop of Horrors. Based on the B-movie by Roger Corman, it premiered off-Broadway in 1982, before transferring off-Broadway, where it had a 5-year run. In 1986, Ashman wrote the screenplay for the film adaptation of Little Shop of Horrors, directed by Frank Oz. He and Menken wrote 2 new songs for the big screen, Some Fun Now, which has early Little Mermaid influences, and Mean Green Mother from Outer Space, which received an Academy Award nomination. That same year, Howard was recruited by Jeffrey Katzenberg to provide lyrics to Disney's Oliver and Company. Once Upon a Time in New York City was performed by Huey Lewis. The news was not available. Katzenberg told Ashman about a new project, The Little Mermaid, and he brought in Menken to work on songs. It was released in 1989 to commercial and critical success, propelling Disney animation from the brink of bankruptcy into the next Disney Renaissance. Ashman would work on 2 additional musical adaptations, Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin, but he wouldn't live to see either film to completion. Howard died of AIDS on March 14, 1991. Over his brief yet influential career, he received 2 Academy Awards, 2 Golden Globes, and 5 Grammy Awards. In 2001, he was a posthumous recipient of the Disney Legends Award. Howard is currently streaming on Disney+. That's all for this edition of Matt Watch That. Thanks for listening to me babble. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Matt Seroski. You can subscribe to my YouTube page where I'll post videos and clips from the show. If you have any opinions on what I've discussed or suggestions as to what movie or TV pilot I should see, use the hashtag MattWatchThat on social. Head over to mattseroski.com for all the latest news and updates, and come back next time for the reviews, rants, and randomness. He started performing at the Children's Theater Association before studying at Boston, wow. He became a pope. That's what happened. We're honoring Pridecast. They were the first band since the Beatles to have 3 top 10 hits from a deep